Matt Painter. There's microphones. Just raise your hand. We'll get them to you. Go ahead, Brian.
Matt, what did you see in your team? What did you learn about your team, whatever, in that closing surge? Or Fletcher scored the 7 straight, and then you got the big threes from Lance and Brady.
Yeah, just obviously we wanted to push the ball more, and obviously we didn't, get a lot of points in transition, but they didn't get a lot of points in transition either. Mason got the 1-3, but just trying to establish Zach, and obviously we play through him, we play through Braden's ball screen action more than anything, and just taking what they give us. And they stayed one-on-one with him, and he missed some shots that he normally makes. I know he has big numbers there, but he missed 10 shots. He doesn't normally miss 10 shots. And then just trying to read it and play it from there in terms of, driving him on closeouts or taking the open threes or letting him be one-on-one. Obviously, Braden made that huge 3 at the end, but I thought Fletcher's 3 after that reversal was big. And then he hit the floater and made those free throws. So, just a good team win. Obviously, they're a great team and very difficult to beat anywhere, but really difficult to beat here. Just a great environment.
Matt, you're down over here on your right.
Thank you.
You're down 6 at half. You were down 10 just moments before that. Did you kind of feel fortunate going into the locker room to be in the situation you were in where you felt like we're in striking distance now?
No, I felt that we should have been tied with them. We missed those layups in transition, but it's obviously from my perspective, right? I don't look at it from theirs. But, Lance had the layup in transition. Fletch had 2 different layups in transition. There was another one in there because we talked about missing 4 layups there. But, anytime somebody gets up double figures against you, now you can, more or less cut it in half or gotten close to that. And then we just had to rebound the basketball better. They out-rebounded us by 2 in the first half. We out-rebounded them by 4. But anytime we have that number from a turnover standpoint, we've won. And so the one thing about not turning it over against them, you limit Terrence Shannon's opportunities in the open court. We really don't have a great answer for that. When he gets ahead of steam and he starts cooking, that's very difficult for anybody. And obviously Marcus Damask is, a fabulous player, but how he plays and doing the dribble downs like Pickett did last year really puts everybody in a bind. So you got to put a lot of attention to Damask. You got to put a lot of attention to Terrence Shannon just because, they have, Terrence has a lead ability and a skill level. And, but more than anything, they play 2 separate, groups. So at our place, the numbers would say when Dane Danger and Ty were in, we had more success. When they went smaller, it was harder for us. So now we got to prepare after an emotional win against Michigan State for 2 different lineups. And it's really not that hard, but when fatigue sets in and competition gets and you have a crowd, now you got to know what you're doing versus their small lineup versus their bigger lineup and some of the things that we were doing. And you can see sometimes there, like we messed up just a couple basic switches. Coleman gets that dunk. We have another simple switch that we messed up. But we like Zach against anybody at the basket. We just do different things because we try to protect him, more than anything. But we like Damask with the ball, 5 to 15 feet with Zach on him. But sometimes you can't get to that point. And so, we really worked on him staying down and staying disciplined and not letting him with all the shot fakes getting any foul trouble there. But just a big time win by our guys.
Matt, last year, you guys obviously win the Big Ten. You're winning it outright again this year. What does it say about your guys that they were able to get back to that place? It's hard enough to win. They got their heart broken, and they've come back.
Yeah, it's really hard for the loss that we had. We've never been a 1 seed since I've been the coach, and you fight to be a 1 seed, and you get beat by a 16 seed. And I don't even really like talking about it out of respect for our opponent because they beat us straight up, right? They earned it, and but we had to sit in that, for 6-7 months before our season started, and that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to fight to get back in that same place, and it looks like we're going to be in that same place come tournament time, and then obviously play better. But winning the Big Ten is still, it's such an honor because it's so hard. Think about the venues that you have to go into. And I know it's not a perfect schedule always, but, we had to go into Wisconsin. We had to go into here. We went into Indiana. We didn't play at Michigan State, just kind of thinking, obviously we got beat at Nebraska and got beat at Northwestern. But all those venues, man, are so difficult. And there's other ones, obviously, as you guys know. But I think that says something for our guys to be able to, being 7-3 on the road in the Big Ten is quite an accomplishment. And 9-0 at home, and we know we got a tough one against Wisconsin. But yeah, it's our guys are resilient, and they hang in there. And they're tough, and they're basketball guys, and we just got a good mix of guys. We obviously got the best player in the country. It's a hell of a place to start. But Braden Smith's a tough kid, and Fletcher Lawyer's a tough kid, and Mason Gillis. I think he'd rather fight you than talk to you at times. But you guys saw Trey Kaufman ran at our place get 23 against Illinois, and so like he's a talented kid, and he's coming. And today wasn't his day, but and then Lance Jones has really given us some athleticism, some quickness, some skill, some defense. So we got a good group. Cam Heidi had a good day today. So,
Coach, both you and Coach Underwood had the same issue in the first half with your stars playing with 2 fouls. Obviously, Zach's was a little bit later in the half, but both of you guys subbed them in on offense for the last possession and both got points from them.
right.
Is there a conversation that happens with Zach going into that, knowing like, hey, you got 2 fouls,
Yes,
you got to play differently?
Yes, that's exactly what he says. Don't go for the rebound. He gets, and he has all those tap backs where he goes, and it's so hard to officiate because is he just 8 inches taller than somebody and he's getting it, or is he actually getting up on their back? And so when he gets fouls, we always talk to him about that. But in that scenario there, it's like, hey, let's score the basketball. But it's pretty hard to do because that's your instincts, right? You score the ball and you miss it, you go after the basketball. You're 5 feet from the rim. You're 7'4". What are you supposed to do? But him getting a third one there would have been tough for us.
How much of those 2 inside-out threes that you started the second half with, one by Braden, one by Fletcher, kind of changed the game? It seemed like Zach got more one-on-ones after that,
Right.
and then it set the tone for an 8-10 shooting half.
Yeah, well, that's one of the differences with this team is that we're a better 3-point shooting team, and you put people in binds. The rules that they have and the way they play aren't the rules when they play us because they can't be, right? Other people don't have him. So now, if they want to stay one-on-one, we're just going to keep going to the well. We're just going to keep going. If we get beat, then we get beat. But he normally does pretty well there. But he's very unselfish. He's very unselfish. So if you come and double, he'll get the ball out of his hands. We spend a lot of time knowing where people are. You still got to pick up eyes. You still got to know what's going on. But we spend a lot of time on when the ball goes in on this block versus the left block versus the right block, where you're supposed to be. It doesn't mean you just let it whip, but those are the easiest threes to take. The step-in threes are the easiest threes.
That there are guys that maybe shy away from the big moments, and I think to the contrast of that, you got 5 guys on the court who want the shot in that moment. Lance can hit a shot all night, hits a dagger 3. Obviously, Braden steps into that one. Fletcher goes on the 7-0 run. Zach's going to do what he does. How important is it to have so many guys that aren't afraid of that moment when it gets to a game like this?
Yeah, no question. Lance has been that way for us all year. Even some games when he struggles, he steps up and knocks down a shot. Fletch has made big shots here, and you see Braden really, steps up into that moment. But just having that balance with him, he's our, he's the cornerstone of what we do, Zach-Edey. And so now you want to put people around him that brings value to him just like he brings value to his teammates, and having skill and decision makers with him makes it a complete package offensively.
Right here.
Thank you.
The defensive efficiency numbers that kind of slipped the last couple weeks for you guys. What can you take away from tonight, just specific on that end, especially with turnovers and Zach came off out of the paint a lot too? So.
Right. Well, I think our defensive numbers are better when we take care of the basketball because we're not in transition as much. I think that can start by setting our defense, and that really helps. Sometimes you're fortunate. Obviously, you'd like to give your defense credit for them being 4 for 16, but you go back and look, and maybe there's just some misses that they normally would make, and you kind of look at those things, but. For us to hold them to 71, I didn't think that would happen. Just to be frank with you, look at who they've played. Look at how they've scored. They've been in the hundreds at home. They've been in the 90s. They've just outscored people. And think about Minnesota scoring 97 points here and losing. You score 97 points, you should win, right? But that just shows you their firepower. But just trying to work and talk through things. The things that get you lost more than anything is just being disconnected and guys not remembering what they're supposed to do. If you just do what you're supposed to do and don't foul, you're going to give yourself a better chance.
In the back. Go ahead, right here. Sorry.
Matt, right here.
Thank you.
Following up on that, you're the first team to hold Illinois under 80 in 9 games. So what do you think was the key to forcing them out of their offensive streak there?
Yeah, just like I said, I think taking care of the basketball for us, not letting them get as many transition opportunities, I think was the biggest piece of it. They get 11 offensive rebounds. They were killing us on the glass to start the game. Ty got the tip dunk there. Maybe it was an and one. But just, trying to keep them off the glass and keep them out of transition and just make them earn everything and not foul to mask. Everybody, he has such a tough cover. But I didn't think we could handle him one-on-one to mask. And if he was going to get deep, I really wanted to bring Zach and use size as much as we can. Sometimes we did that, sometimes we didn't. You're not going to Terrence Shannon didn't have a good shooting game, but he's very dynamic. He's like Jaden Ivey was for us. When he gets that head of steam and he gets going, you just have to limit those opportunities by playing well on the offensive end and setting your defense. So I think those are the 2 areas. I didn't think we were great at boxing out, but I think we were good enough, right? But the turnovers for me is I know I'm talking offense and you're asking a defensive question, but it's really, really important to stop people in transition.
In the back, and then Casey.
Coach, you talked about the missed layup over here on your right. You talked about
I'm struggling. Bad.
You talked about the missed layups in the first half already. Is the adjustment on that as simple as making the layups, or do you want to slow down instead of pushing the tempo on the fast break?
I thought Lance's was okay. They talk about the guys in the cylinder when they go vertical wall, they got to jump an A and land an A. It didn't seem like that happened, but I'm 60 feet from it, so I'm probably not the person to talk about that. Fletcher just shot a reverse layup and whiffed it. Looked like to me, he just shot it off the glass, and I don't know. But yeah, your pride gets in the way a lot, and you really talk about, Jay Wright really made a living at Villanova and getting guys to understand about playing on 2 feet and being under control. And you get ahead of steam and you get going, especially in transition. I thought we had 2 or 3 plays. Fletch had one to start the second half. Braden had one when the ball went off his leg. If you just jump stop, they can't get around him. Just jump stop, and he's somewhere, right? And so just put the ball up in the air, and if they come in and put 2 people on him, now you're on 2 feet and you can spray it out. So we just have to do a better job of playing on 2 feet and then utilize it. Doesn't mean you still can't shoot. See, the one thing about jump stopping is you haven't taken the shot out of the equation. I'm under control. Now I'm going to jump stop. Now I got Zebo right there. Now I can turn around and shoot that little turnaround shot right there, or I can spray out for a 3. When you leave your feet, hope you like what you're doing, right? Because that's what you're doing, And so, especially when you go to your weak hand, it's hard. Boo Boo, he can make that play. He can make speed dribble with his left hand, shoot with his right. Maybe a couple other guys, but analytically, we probably have 1 or 2 guys in our league that analytically should shoot that shot. And so, that's kind of what's taken over basketball. But it's okay. It's intelligence, right? You're playing the right way. If you can't go and dunk that, and you can't go through size and athleticism, you got to get on 2 feet. And so we did a little bit better job of it, but we still had our moments.
That's one, Casey.
Matt, you guys go 1 for 6, 3 in the first half. Edie doesn't get a free throw until 12 minutes left in the second half. Lance doesn't play well until the end, shooting-wise.
Right.
Knocks one down late. What does that say about your team's just mental makeup this late in the season?
Yeah, just being resilient and staying with it, and keep fighting, and kind of just for a while we just had to hang in there, right? They were playing better than we were, and just keep kind of trusting each other, and we just kind of kept talking about Terrence Shannon and just kept talking about Marcus Damascus dribble downs, or booty ball, or whatever you want to call it. Coleman Hawkins, spreads you out, and he's so talented, and he's long, and causes problems. Guerrier had a great first half, right? He didn't think he had a couple free throws in the second. But just, we just wanted to keep our focus there, and we wanted to keep him out of the paint more. They're so good once you get – see, that's the deal. When you get Marcus and you go in doubling and they can spray that ball out quick, now you're in a rotation, and now they're shooting threes or attacking closeouts. Now you got to go back into help again. So that's why we wanted to pick up the ball and hopefully take some time off there, kind of our version of like a 2-2-1, just to kind of slow them down a little bit. But at times, I think it helped us, and at times it didn't matter. But yeah, I think we just gotta build on it and keep getting better and understanding different styles. Like, you go play Northwestern or you go play Minnesota, you go play Illinois. There's probably more similarities than differences, but there's still differences. And like now, just kind of because hopefully this experience helps us, in the NCAA tournament.